God bless you. And today is our midday broadcast, and the word and the vision comes from God calling Moses back on track. Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. The Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and have given heed to their cry because of their taskmasters. For I am aware of their suffering. I have come down to deliver them from the power of the Egyptians, to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land. Now behold, the cry of the sons of Israel has come to me. Furthermore, I have seen the oppression with which the Egyptians are oppressing them. Two things here. There is a cry going up to God, where the world is running now. Israel had lived in Goshen for 430 years, out of which 400 years were slavery. And Moses, when he was 40 years old, he ran to do the call of God, what he knew in his heart. His mother, Jochebed, and his sister Miriam had inculcated that in his spirit when he was young. He was 40 years old, learned in the crafts of Egypt. He ran, he failed, and he ran out of Egypt. And it was credited to him that he considered the reproaches of Christ. He considered the call of God more than the riches of Egypt. He ran off, and he married the daughter of the head of Midian, and now he's in a comfortable position for 40 years. Now he's 80 years old. For the past 40 years, he had a comfortable position. He was an important man. Midian itself was a large people, perhaps larger than Israel at that time. And certainly he was a landed proprietor with much flock and herd, and well set for life, like most Christians today. And now the call comes, I have heard the cry. Have you heard the cry that ascends from earth right now? The kinds of debauchery, abortion, LGBTQ, global oligarchs planning to take over nations, made up viruses, cooked up stories, vaccines, and then destruction of immunity planned. They have decided public health is a domain through which you can control the world and the nations. That's right. So global organizations are aligning with global oligarchs. The young politicians, the young scientists, the young economists, they're all into this. The young ecologists, the young environmentalists cooking up the story, and the cry goes up. What if God has said, enough is enough, it's time for me to come back and take my world? That would be the second coming. No man knows the hour, of course. But have we identified and felt with the cry of oppression? The creation is groaning, marriage is groaning, sexuality is groaning, distorted and tortured. What God has created is groaning. Certainly believers are groaning. If we are not a believer in groan, there is something quite wrong. This is a time like that. God was expecting Moses to immediately pick up the groaning God has heard. And here is Moses, sufficient. He has perhaps forgotten his call. He has enough on his plate now. He's a significant man, even in Midian. Maybe he had misgivings about what he had lost, but certainly he's not in a position, or he's not in a mindset to go back, to do any deliverance. God says there's much to deliver. And then God comes in the burning bush. That's the thing. So the burning bush, a supernatural intervention, and he said, this is holy ground, remove your shoes, a supernatural redirection, God owning what Moses was doing. That was his common territory, where he moved with his flock. And God comes and says, all this I am making holy unto me. It is my holy territory, because I am taking you over. Moses, your time lacks time between your last sense of mission and your present sense of disposition and no mission. It's over. This is a call to every Christian. Every Christian, God is speaking to you for 5 minutes to get you in touch with how he feels about the present situation. Now we know we have had a lot of heartache, hardships, and COVID has come, livelihoods are difficult. I know your energy is spent a lot on how to get to work on time, how to keep the workplaces going, how to pay salaries, if you are responsible, how to keep your goals, and then your children's education, all you have put more effort into for all that. I want to ask you, have you put more effort into the call of God? Have you put more effort into keeping your church functioning? Have you kept more effort into going to your Sunday service? Christian, you have to give an answer. What have you put more effort into in 2020? Most will have to say, just to keep ticking on earth. Is that your call? And God says, I have come. We have heard a terrible cry going up. And why has he come down? Here is the deal. God speaks to Moses. So I have come down. Exodus 3:8. For I have come down to deliver them from the power of the Egyptians and to bring them from that land to a good and spacious land. Now behold, the cry of the sons of Israel has come to me. I have seen them. Therefore come now. So there begins the deal. God speaks for 5 minutes to Moses and says, come now you. Will we change our direction of life in 5 minutes when God speaks? Moses is well entrenched, well ensconced in his present position as a significant leader of a large people group, the Midianites. God says, now get involved in the deliverance mission I always had for you. Get involved. God speaks for 5 minutes to you. If God speaks to you for 5 minutes face to face, will you change? The whole direction of your life, will you change? I want to tell you that's what happened to me in 1980. When God spoke to me directly for 5 minutes, all my academic ambition for the medical world ceased. He only spoke for less than 5 minutes. 3 times he said, will you serve me? Will you serve me? Will you serve me? Actually, he said, you will serve me now. You will serve me now. You will serve me now. I was then the clinical registrar, the only one at that time, to the professor of medicine in Colombo when God called me. And I had to say yes. I hadn't planned for it. But when God speaks, 5 minutes, direct you, face to face, he gives his mission first. I have seen the burden. I'm calling you. So I have come down to deliver them. Now behold, the cry of the sons of Israel has come. Therefore, come now, I will send you. Exodus 3:10. Therefore, come now, I will send you. After a 5-minute talk, of course, a powerful intervention with the burning bush and so on. Come now, so that you may bring my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the sons of Israel out of Egypt? So Moses had questions about who he was and about the mission. His proposition was, I am not suitable, mission is too big. Then God gets it right for him. It's not about who you are, it's about who I am. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go? Moses said, then God says, he said, certainly it will be, I will be with you, and this shall be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. So issue is not what Moses is or what I am, it's about what God has said he will do through us. So these are days that God will visit the man of God, the called person, with a burning bush rather than going to Pharaoh. We expect a great intervention. A time will come for that, but at present it's you with your God at the burning bush, removing your old shoes, what you know to do, and getting a new direction in 5 minutes decision time. Of course, you can ask your questions. Moses asked his questions, and there are many more questions coming later, and then all that will be settled. And Moses was ready in that interview. Maybe the whole thing took 1 hour or maybe 2 hours, but the call came in 5 minutes. Come now. Come now. I will send you to Pharaoh. So this is God's call to us, and that burden, and we want to get into what God sees in abortion, in LGBTQ agenda, viruses, vaccines, global oligarchs taking the nations into their hands, and this terrible pandemic, all that. God had heard, God has seen, and He's beginning a new process for a new epoch. That's how I interpret the signs of the times. I don't know when, but the call is now. After a 5-minute talk with the Lord, interview, He is recruiting you to say, I will send you. So the bottom line is this: when we are getting ready with the Lord for this move to get to where He wants us to get to, all the provision of Egypt is commanded for us, the brigade that's getting ready to move. So in our preparedness to move with Him in the season for what He has, we are provided also, just the way that in one night 400 back wages were given to Israelites for their slave labor. Egyptians came and gave the gold and the silver in one night, but they did not get for 400 years. So this is where we are moving. God bless you.